Okay. Do the link again.
Yeah, it says that. So, you were your voice is forward. Okay, look, I'll just continue on. We'll take a look at that. Yeah.
No, no, that's proceed on. Okay. So we can see that the answers in terms of player availability have begun to arrive. Ian has declined the event. I've accepted, and over time, as players come back with their responses, those responses will be shown on the screen. A couple of features here to take a look at. If we click the cog beside any player's name, we can see that we can do two things. One is that we can change the player's status ourselves. So perhaps we've had an offline conversation with the player says he can play. We can represent that on the team space if we choose. Also, if we're awaiting a response and no response has come back yet, we can choose to resend. And that's as simple as clicking resend SMS in order to resend a notification. You can see in players where an email is in the system also that you can choose to send the reminder by email or by phone, depending on which you choose. In this case, we'll send this one by push notification to Shane. Other features relevant to the event. We can edit details of the event if we choose. If we do that, the system will give us the option of resending the event. So if it's a fundamental piece of information that has changed, maybe the time has changed by a number of hours or the venue has changed, we can represent that and resend the notification if we wish. We can cancel the event. This is one of the great Teamr features. If we cancel an event, the system will ask us for the event detail, for the cancellation details. And once we click confirm cancellation, those details will be sent to all players immediately via SMS, email, and push notification. This can be very useful if you're beside the pitch. There's still half an hour to go. Players haven't started arriving yet. You can get that notification out quickly and make sure that everyone is notified adequately. So those are the basics for events. We'll take a look at a couple of other features and then we'll wrap up the webinar. So in the Team Talk section, we create messages that are not specifically game related. Maybe at the beginning of a season, perhaps we want to remind parents that there are new arrangements this year. So that is the content of the message we wish to send. We can choose to be alerted when people respond to the message. If it is a message that requires a response, perhaps you're using the Team Talk section to see, can parents give lifts this weekend? Well, in that case, you probably do want to get alerts when people respond to your posting in the Team Talk section. You can also choose to allow players respond from SMS if they so wish by clicking this button here. When players respond via SMS, their responses, like standard email responses, will be pulled in to the comments section beneath the posting. Again, in choosing who we wish to get this message, the mechanic is just like it is for choosing who we wish to notify of a game. In this case, we want to notify all of this message. So we will hand select some people to get this message for the purpose of this demonstration. Now, so this is the group of individuals who wish to get this message. Again, we have our send now, our send later options, and in this case, we will send now. So that message will get sent by means of our choosing, email, SMS, and our push notification to the phones and email inboxes of our team members. That is the Team Talk section. Photos are pretty much as we might expect. We can add photos from the hard drive of our PC or laptop. Also, if we're using the Teamer apps, we can take photos at pitch side, which get loaded directly to the team site. So, speaking of apps, we will move along now and take a quick look at the Teamer app capability. Teamer apps are available for both iPhone and Android, free for players to use. Here we will take a look at the basic functionality within the app. The basic functionality in the app mirrors the capabilities that are found on the website. So we'll run this brief video. We can see we have the option to create teams. We can add players from there if we choose. And then we have our key tabs: events, members, photos, and Team Talk. In this case, we're looking at a training event that has been set up. We've already accepted this training event. If we tap on View Lineup, we're going to see all the people who have been notified. We see that Shannon has not responded. We can, if we choose, filter based on those who have just accepted. So that is the app in terms of the organizer's capabilities. The apps use push notification to alert players of games. This is a very valuable capability. It has a number of benefits. When you use the apps to notify your players of games, the apps do not deplete your 200 SMS allowance. Also, however, if you're managing a juvenile team, both parents, if you choose, can take the apps on their smartphones and both be alerted of fixtures and any team information concurrently once you send out messages. Finally, for players responding, they do not need to use SMS. They can do it through the app. They save themselves the cost of the SMS message, and of course, you no longer have to deal with people not being able to respond, perhaps because they don't have credit. So the apps are very much the up-and-coming way to keep your team informed and engaged. We'll quickly take a look at how notifications arrive on apps. So here's an example. This is your standard view of the iPhone. When the notification arrives in first, it pops up on the screen, essentially looking like an SMS message. In order to proceed to accept or decline the event, the player need only tap launch and then yes or no in terms of who's attending, or if they will be able to attend the event. So this is a terrific and easy way for players to keep the team updated in terms of their availability. You can see though that also the player with the app on their phone has ready access to key information about up and coming events. They get into the car in the morning and they're unsure whether it's a home game or an away game. With just a couple of taps, they're going to be able to show exactly where the game is. And indeed, if it's parents looking to share lifts, they can readily work out who is attending the fixture and who isn't, and proceed to make their phone calls and whatever arrangements they need. So the app on the phone has become a means of keeping the entire team very much up to the minute, and also engaged with whatever events are going on within the team. And it's certainly the recommended way to interact with Teamr. So back to Teamr proper, we will finish off with a look at the attendance record. The attendance record uses the data that builds up week to week as players decline and accept events, and makes it available retrospectively to the team and to the organisers. We can see for this team each individual player's performance in terms of when they attended, when they failed to attend. We can see that we have totals for attended, total declined, a percentage of the amount of time they're available to attend events. One of the key things about this area is that retrospectively the team organizer can manage this information and update it themselves. Players cannot change this information, but organizers can. So if I know for a fact that Ger was actually present at training on the 29th of January, and you'd only click the icon that shows him as having been declined, and that becomes accepted. So this becomes an ideal mechanism for keeping an attendance record. Attendance at training correlates strongly to performance on the field. And when it comes to selection and perhaps difficult conversations, this can be an ideal capability for organizers in arriving at judgment about who's starting perhaps and who's on the bench. So this concludes the areas that we wish to cover today in the Teamr demo. We will hop across and now move to questions and answers section. If you have a question you'd like to ask at this point, please feel free to type it into the chat box there, and we will answer any questions that might be out of the audience. Yeah, that's grand. No, that's grand. It's working fine. I mean, you can see it, and it's.
You on the voice it?
No, I should. Well, I can if I wish, but I have actually responded there with the please go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it there.